Hi, my name is Tony Pegram. This is my creative representation on the article that we read regarding teaching science K through 8. Here's the scoop on teaching science. So the first main idea in the article talks about starting with questions about nature. So it's important for students to become familiar with how the world works by asking questions and discovering the answers to them. Students should raise questions about what they are studying. According to the article, wondering should be as highly valued as knowing. Student engagement is another huge piece of teaching science. Things that students should be able to do: observing, sketching, note-taking, interviewing, survey and polling, using common instruments such as microscopes, thermometers, and cameras, and also collecting, sorting, and cataloging data. In science, they should be able to dissect things, measure things, count and graph information, and systematically observe the social behavior of humans and other animals. One quote taken directly from the article: among these activities, none is more important than measurement, and that figuring out what to measure, what instruments to use, how to check the correctness of measurement, and how to configure and make sense out of the results are at the heart of much of science and engineering. The next topic discussed in this article is concentrating on collection and use of evidence. What evidence is relevant? Out of everything that students collect, all the data, what evidence is most relevant to the question that they're asking? Allow students to determine what that evidence means. You can find a bunch of numbers and record a bunch of data, but what are you actually looking for? What are you truly finding? It's really important for them to be able to understand that. Encourage students to be thoughtful and thorough when analyzing, making observations, and building arguments. It's really important that if they care about the work that they're doing and they really understand it and they're passionate about it, that it's just going to work all over. They're going to understand it and they'll be able to reteach it to somebody else and carry it with them. So it is also very important to have frequent group work. This will help them gain experience in sharing responsibilities, which is an important life skill overall, in science, in a future career, pretty much in any aspect of their life. Being able to work individually, but also work as a team. Communication within a group of students can help the learning process beyond what reading out of a textbook can do. So there is some benefit to just reading things out of a book, but that's only one part of it. Working with others and talking back and forth can kind of really get your mind going and critical thinking. This also allows students the opportunity to provide feedback on each other's work. Recognize and encourage creativity. This is a huge thing in education, really, with any subject. When students are being creative and they're using their imagination, honestly, it can just make science fun. It can get them hooked, keep them interested, intrigued, and wanting to know more, wanting to learn more when they're able to be creative and be colorful and express themselves while also learning at the same time. Vocabulary, this is kind of a tough part of learning. Using vocabulary when necessary. Technical terms can be helpful, and it is, they they do have to learn them at some point, but it can be pretty overwhelming just getting a list of vocabulary words. So gradually introducing vocabulary through effective communication. This will help students grasp the meaning of the vocabulary, and it's more likely to stick with them over time than just saying, memorize these 20 words by the end of the week. So the final piece of this article says, let learning take its time. If you try to take all this information and just cram it into one lesson, it's less likely to stick with the student beyond school. So the best thing to do is just let students experience what you're trying to teach them. Let them learn, let them make mistakes, let them make their arguments, communicate with each other, experiment, and just take your time. Of course, there's, timeline in sixth grade. You want to learn these main subjects, but just not trying to rush it and just hurry through it and just go by the book and just go through a checklist. Every student learns at different paces, at different times. Some students are good at memorizing things. Some students are more hands-on. So it's just kind of figuring out how your students learn best and then basing your lesson around that information once you kind of get to know your students and you can gauge what is appropriate for that class. So that is the main points that I gathered from this article. Thank you for watching.